Okay, so it's been a goal of mine this past year to compile a music playlist that has all the music that I know of all in one playlist, and I've done that. But also, I've compiled a bunch of other playlists at the same time. I'm going to go over that. It's going to be time stamped in the video, so if you want to see, look in the description or go through fast forward, and you'll see a bunch of playlists I'll be talking about in this video. I'm going to have music artists, music styles, music teachers, bunch of stuff, even more than that, so it'll be a lot of stuff. We're going to start with this one, meewzik, the first one. Again, like I'll say, all of the links will be in the description too. So this one has, like I said, all the music that I've held on to throughout the years. So the stuff that I would still to this day turn on and listen to, the stuff that I've known since way back that I grew up with, and the stuff that I found out recently, and then from there. And you'll notice, and you won't notice, but if you look, a lot of the stuff that I add all the time is stuff that I already know. So like today, I added Foghat. I went through the Foghat Bearsville collection. I thought I always listen to this, but I never went through the actual individual songs and added them to this playlist. I just listened to it on my own time. So I like to share this music with people. And here we go. I started with, I think it's the third album is Energized. Don't quote me on that. I left Road Fever. Love that song. Great song. And then all of Energized. That's like one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm going to actually talk about some stuff in this video too. So the album Energized is energized and it's just amazing, but also the sound, it really, I was listening to it today and I was thinking, there's something about this. I actually think this every time when I listen to this. It's not like the best recorded sounding album. It's not super crisp, and especially the mic. It's like it's this very vintage sound, and by vintage I mean like it's not like the best quality, but it still sounds good. It's just an old school sound. And I would actually love to replicate the sound of this album, especially the mic. But of course, you'd have to go with other vintage stuff and to go along with that sound, like with other instruments. But wow, listen to this album if you kind of want to open up your mind to the fact that stuff doesn't have to be super clean, even on the very final cut of an album, if it to give a certain effect. Basically, if this album was super cleaned up, everything was really, like, even the microphone, you could hear the guy's voice perfectly like a good modern microphone, it would not be the same result as an end result to the album. So just, I would keep that in mind and listen to the album. Great one. Also some other Foghat albums, I maybe left out some few songs that I thought no were hit or miss. My own opinion, whatever, but I left in a lot of stuff, even with one of their later albums. I need to listen to some more of their later stuff. I mean later as in after how many other albums I went through. We have some Mozart. We have Glass Tiger. Oh, Glass Tiger. If you don't know about them, it's like a Canadian rock band. I guess they're pretty well known in Canada. I don't know so much about the US because a lot of these bands in my generation, they're not well known at all. But I'll talk to someone who's my parents' age or something, like 50 or 60 or something, and then they'll go, oh yeah, I grew up with those guys. Moody Blues, for example. My generation, nobody knows Moody Blues, but a lot of the older generation, like I was saying, 50 or 60-year-olds of today's day, would definitely know Moody Blues and, random bands or people, maybe Neil Diamond, Van Morrison, for example. I'm going to I actually have both of those as a playlist, so stick around for those. Oh, look, I have Van Morrison right here. I was going through, I have a lot of books about music, so I had the Vivaldi Four Seasons, and I was listening to it yesterday, and I was reading it, and the music score, and I went through the contents and saw, or the table of contents, or the chapters, or whatever, it shows you what pages everything's on, and then I was curious, so I went through it, and I saw one page that explained the Vivaldi variations. It says how to make your own variations from a few of his violin concertos, Opus 8. And I thought, very interesting. So I looked that up, and funny enough, someone did a variation in the middle. This looks like this is from, I don't quote me on this, but I think this would be like Vivaldi Violin Concerto, Opus 8 Violin Concerto number 9, I'm pretty sure. And it is the one in G minor, and I'm pretty sure he was doing, most of the variations were on D major or D minor, which is interesting because a lot of your violin concertos, the best ones, or a lot of your top ones are in D major, and I've heard a good quote. And if you watch all these videos, which you'll never be able to, you'll find a video where a lady is, and I'll show you the video. She says she's giving you tips for people who are composing for violin, and she's saying, hey, the D string is a great string to play for violinists, and not only that, but each string correlates with the key that you're writing for. So if you're writing for the D string, which is, she thinks, probably the best string, and here's the reason, is because you can write in D major and you have the D string, and then you can put it in A major as your relative major, and you can go in the A string, okay? And then you can yeah, A string, and then your low string, you can go to your G string for your, I guess your other relative major, which would be like your plagal major. I'm pretty sure both of them would be relative, whether it's plagal or if it's up a fifth or if it's down a perfect fourth, either way. From my understanding, they're both the relative scales. So you're able to access both of those by going to each one of the other strings and also putting the piece going to the relative major, either way, left or right, up or down, however you want to look at it, up a fifth or down a fourth from the, or up a fifth or down a fifth from the key that you're using. You know what I'm saying, if you know what I mean. Okay? So there's that. That kind of went a little off, but you know, we're going to get to that kind of stuff. Let's get back into the music playlist, okay? So, Bob Dylan, Foot of Pride Studio Outtake 1983. You got to listen to that one. That is so good. It's so great. Okay, this is so funny. I actually have, you'll see, whole playlist about albums. And I actually added, this guy is so cool. Or I don't know who it is, but someone on the internet did a Bob Dylan, and they did certain albums, and they did reimagined. So it's like the cuts that he didn't put in his albums, and I think a few of them, maybe live versions, a lot of them, or it mostly, or is all studio recorded versions that didn't get put in the albums. So he made a reimagined version of his actual other albums. And actually, one of them is a reimagined version. It's like years and years later, and it's so funny because he chose a picture that is in black and white. The original one's in black and white, and they kind of look similar, except Bob Dylan is really old in the one that he made now, the reimagined one. And the old one, originally, it's a younger one. It's just, I love stuff like that. And as you can see, it's not like, some of the stuff is kind of undercover. You won't see a lot of views on some of the stuff. Mac DeMarco, nobody. If you don't know Mac DeMarco, you should open up to some good music. He did that Chamber of Reflections song. A lot of people know him by that one. But he has this he made his own kind of sound with his guitar. And I saw an interview of him with him where he says he doesn't like stuff really sounding like it's really in key. And I was whistling to his stuff the other day, and I thought, yeah, this stuff is it's kind of so wonky that it doesn't really fit a key. And it's just kind of this trippy sound. So I love Mac DeMarco. And I've seen comments where people, it's very relatable, say like, this fits like literally like you being in such like a sad time, like kind of like on the edge of like oh my gosh, what's happening in life, or in like literally like maybe overcoming that and being like, oh, I'm in such a happy place in life where things are so good right now. It's kind of like music fits so many different emotional states. Is a better way to put it. Bob Dylan, from the Rolling Thunder review, thought it was funny. His face all painted, like white makeup or something. He just looks like a clown or something. Bob Dylan, Coming from the Heart, The Road as Long as You Can See. This one was actually posted from the account that I'm reviewing all these. This is my other account. It's Music Man, and I have a bunch of playlists on it as I'm showing you. This is one of them. But I also post some stuff on there, so if you subscribe, you'll see some videos posted here and there. Bob Dylan, Clearwater 1976. I have some Bob Dylan concerts. I took some songs that people really don't know of that much, and the copyright allows me to share them with people, so I put them on my channel so people could see these, especially in my generation. I think people could benefit a lot from stuff like this. Here's some more Bob Dylan stuff with Bob Dylan and Joan, as you saw in that concert. Some of those songs I show you where they came from on the actual studio, on the version on the album. We have The Firm with Paul Rodgers and Why can't I not? Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page and Paul Rogers. It's like, what? So, like, your dad'll know about that if you're my age, but if you're my age, you may not know about this. There's a good chance you don't. Check it out. The Firm. Fortune Hunter, good song. There's one, All the King's Horses. Oh, it's so good. It's all the albums. They have 2 albums. So good. And I'll check out Paul Rogers in general. Just like Bad Company, Free, if you don't know. ELO, Day Tripper. It was from a concert. I was thinking, I love that version, so I put it on here. There's a lot of songs on here that you'll think, that's kind of a weird version of that song, but I love the certain versions I put on here. So yeah, we have a lot of Bob Dylan lately. We have some Firm. Let's get into some more stuff. I heard The Badge by Mickey Thomas's album Alive Alone. Mickey Thomas from Starship. The band that Jefferson Starship turned into Jefferson Starship, kind of, because it had Grace Slick in it from Jefferson Starship. I'm not the best with names, so I shouldn't say too many names, but I do know a good amount of names if I think hard enough. But then Grace Slick joined with Mickey Thomas and some other members and did Jefferson Starship, and then Jefferson Starship turned into Starship, and which maybe seemed a little more led by Mickey Thomas. And then Mickey Thomas did some his own albums on the side. Alive Alone's a really good one. He has 2 or 3 of them. Song Badge is on it. Badge is such a good one. I was listening to the guitar solo that on the original for Cream, they had it plugged into an amp for an organ, and they played a guitar on that. It was either Paul McCartney playing it or Paul McCartney's idea. And there's a whole interview about it. No one really knows exactly, but it's influenced by Paul McCartney, and they plugged a guitar into a organ amp, like I was saying, and that's where the guitar lick, where the song comes back in on Cream. You'll hear it if you listen to the whole thing. I'm pretty sure Mickey Thomas did that too, because I listened to it and I thought, it doesn't sound exactly alike, but it was similar. I think he did that. I love Bach. There's a lot of Bach. I love classical music. There's a lot of classical music. I am studying the violin right now in particular. I'm studying composing for orchestra, but then I'm starting to think I don't want to put one foot in front of where I'm at in life yet, so I'm studying more counterpoint right now, really trying to get my counterpoint exercises done and teaching counterpoint, so then when I teach something I really know it a lot more. I'm going to have a lot more counterpoint videos coming up, 3-to-1 counterpoints coming out. And then I'm also, other than that, I'm studying certain, breaking down the orchestra more. So I have a teacher online that's not really a teacher. He kind of is, so he's a teacher, but it's not someone that I'm paying or something like that, or taking lessons. I'm on my own time, studying from this guy, but also mostly I'm kind of studying on my own. I'm reviewing a lot of different people online as several teachers. So there's a bunch of teachers, but also a lot of score reading and score analysis and a bunch of stuff like counterpoint exercises and stuff like that. And I'm just writing stuff all the time because I think about stuff and I think I got to write this down, and then I print it and I look at it, and it's such a good thing to do if you're reviewing music, is to just write down stuff and write down ideas. I have so many ideas written down. It's not a bragging thing, but I can share one with you because of inspiration. And this one's simple, but it's just if you have ideas, write them down. I'll share 2 of them actually, because one of them's kind of funny. So one of them was, if I have it, I know what it was, so I'm just gonna say it. I wanted a song that used the 5 vowels, so A-E-I-O-U, and then it was in 5/4 time, and then it used words that were 5 letters long, and it used the 5 beats for each one of the letters, and it started with A-E-I-O-U, and then it had a bunch of other stuff going on it too. I'm just gonna give you that part, because I have a whole idea for it. But that's just, I guess, the beginning. But here's the other one. So Home is in a 1-4-5 chord progression, and this is just an idea. I had this and I thought, yeah, whatever, I'm not. This actually what happened. This was yesterday. I was stretching and I was thinking I should write this idea down. And I think this all the time, and I write it down most of the time. And it's because I have this in my brain that I gotta do this. I will literally stop what I'm doing, even if I'm like eating, even if I'm cooking, if I'm doing something. I'm like, okay, I gotta like maybe like stop the cooking and pause the cooking for a sec, turn it down. I gotta write this down, because if I don't, what happened? I was stretching. I thought I gotta write this down. And I thought, well, I have ideas like this all the time. Whatever, I'll come up with another idea. And then all of a sudden, the idea left. And then I thought, wait, if I start writing these ideas down, there's gonna be a day where I'm gonna wanna. What happens a lot? I have all these ideas all the time, and then you want to go to actually compose something. And you think, what do I do? What do I do? And then you overthink it a lot. And when you have an actual idea that you write down, you can just kind of sit there when you're not actually sitting there trying to write the song with the piano, whatever you do, or whatever, or no piano. And you can sit here and write the idea down, and you can go with it can be a lot more of a process that flows a lot more if you're just sitting here writing the idea or drawing stuff. Like I drew like a home. I say the home key. Well, I just did no key, but like just to understand it, I guess I could call it C major. I just did the chords. So yeah, I labeled it as the chords just to make sense. So you could do any key you want. So home key is just a 1-4-5. You know, a 1-4-5. Everyone loves a 1-4-5. Starts with a 1. It has 6 bars basically. It's in just it actually doesn't say what time it's in. I would probably do a 4/4 time or a love waltz. I want my first song ever released to be a waltz that's just good vibes and like good lyrics and stuff. Quote me on that, because that's what it's gonna be, and soon to come. I don't know what's gonna be. But okay, so we have a 1-4-5 pattern. It starts on a 1 in the first measure. Like I said, it has 6 measures to start this right here. So we go through 6 measures. 1-4-5. It goes 1, skip a bar, 4, skip a bar, 5, skip a bar. So it's every other bar, and it starts in the first beat with 1. And then it does that 6 times. So you have 6 measures of that. Okay, 6. And then it goes to a 1, skip a bar. I'll just say each one. So when I say it's a 1, if I say any scale degree, that's going to be major. If I say it's something else, it won't be major. So of course I'm going to be working the major scale, but I'm still going to specify so you can imagine what I'm saying. My second one has a 1, skips a bar, goes to a minor 3, goes to a major 4, and then goes to a 5. And those are all bars. So I'll reword that. It goes from a major 1, skips a bar, goes to a minor 3, and that surprises you because you didn't expect that. And then it goes right after that in the next bar to a major 4, and then right after that, the next bar to a major 5, and then because that's bar 5 right there, then there's another bar left over of bar 5 after that. So what happens is regularly you had a 1, skip a bar 4, skip a bar 5, and now you have a 1, skip a bar 3, then 4, then 5, and the 3 surprises you because you didn't expect that. But then it still goes 4 and 5, so it's okay. But then it repeats that 6 times, and it's not that much different. It's not that crazy of a surprise, but it's just a little bit of difference. And then 6 times you go to that. We had 12 bars now. Now we move on to an interrupted cadence to where it does that same thing, but it's different now. It does a major 1, skips a bar, goes to a minor 3, skips a bar, goes to a major 5, and then goes to a minor 6, your 6th chord. And right there, you're thinking, what's going on? Right from there, then it maybe does that once or twice, or who knows how many times you gotta listen to it and know. Then it goes to a 1, skips a bar, goes to a minor 3, sharp 3, which is the 5 of 6. Okay. And then it skips a bar, and then it goes to the 5 chord sharp 1, which is the 7 of 6. I'm pretty sure I'm doing harmonic minor too. I don't want to think about it right now because then I'll have to spend a minute thinking. Then from there, it does that, I think once. Gotta just literally listen to it. No. But then we have and then after that, we're in the harmonic minor modulation. We've landed in the new key. Now we have a 6, which is the 1 of 6, and then we have the 2, which is the 4 of 6, and then we have the 3 sharp 3, which is the 5 of 6. So now we have a 1-4-5 in minor. Oh, it is harmonic minor. So it's the harmonic minor modulation. Woo! We do that 6 times, and then we go to the minor 6 chord, and then skip a bar, the 1 chord sharp 5, and then the 2 chord, and then the 3, and then the minor 2, and then the minor 3 sharp 3 chord. And I already told you what the other ones were in comparison to scale degree 6, so you can figure it out. That happens 6 times, and then we have the interrupted cadence again, which happens in the harmonic minor. And then you get a that leads you to chord 4 at the end in major. So after that, it goes to chord 6 minor again, then chord 1. Oh no, okay, chord 6 minor, skips a bar, chord 1, skips a bar, chord 3, chord 1, and then we're back home. Wow. And then a 1, 4, 5. Should I leave that in the video? I think I'm going to. This video is not going to be very serious. Maybe that inspired you. Maybe you clicked off it because you got so bored. I don't know. Excited me. What's another one? You could sing a song, and half of it could be, you could sing a song and you could be a half speed and an octave down. And then the song could be playing regularly. And then you could go and you could freaking speed it up. I don't even know. I'm confusing myself. I have ideas written down that are kind of cool. I could share them with you, because we could both make them our own song. We have variations. Okay. John Lennon lost album. John Lennon, I'm the greatest. Oh, if you don't know the John Lennon and Ringo Starr, I'm the greatest, or just Ringo Starr albums. Ringo Starr, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, all of them have their own albums. Of course, I didn't mention George Harrison. His name's George Harrison, right? I forget. But yeah, I think George Harrison's albums are, not as good. But I don't like when people share their opinion too much, so we should chill on that. Okay, we have a violin concerto by Tchaikovsky. Whew. And it's by Hilary Hahn. She's like, a lot of people comment, best violinist of our day and age, and you can't really argue with that. She's amazing. When she plays Bach too, a lot of people are like, oh, she plays Bach so good. She plays Bach so good. Listen to her playing Bach. It's amazing. Tom Petty, Wildflowers. I got this album from my mom. Got on vinyl. Wildflowers and More. So good, I thought, let's share with the people on this. There's currently 3,500 views, so I hope that people actually tune back into this on a regular, because there's so much stuff. I found this album that was in Spanish, so maybe it came from Mexico or something. And, it's the Beatles, really good. Here's some more stuff posted by me, Dylan and the Grateful Dead, I'm Free. Let's listen to Beatles album. It's down here somewhere. And we had 8 days a week. And then there was I'm Free. And 8 days a week. It seems like Bob Dylan or Beatles were influenced by someone or each other or something. I don't know what the exact time periods the song releases are. But you see similarities there. And then you see Muddy Waters, Kansas City. And then the Beatles did Kansas City, Hey Hey Hey. And then Rock and Roll Music by the Beatles. That was Chuck Berry's Rock and Roll Music. And then I thought that was cool. They covered some of the kind of real original rock and rollers. Maybe I'm Amazed by McCarthy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Photograph by Ringo Starr. I already talked about I'm the Greatest, but that one's so good. I really like, if you look at the one up there that I showed you earlier, there's the I'm the Greatest studio session with with Ringo Starr and John Lennon, and that one's so funny because you hear I think it's the original lyrics, and they sing, when I was a little boy, wait, I'll just sing it, when I was a little boy, way back home in Liverpool, my mama told me I was great, bum bum, and then it goes on. And then it says, then I was a teenager, and I knew I got something going. My mama told me I was great. So it's hilarious. It's like just saying like, I know I have something going on because my mom said I'm great. But then the actual studio version, he says, first my mom's great, and then he says when he's a teenager, then his friends say he's great. And then now when he's older, then he took a woman by the hand, and she says he's great. It's a great song. It's the greatest show on earth for what it's worth. Alright? So, we got Beatles for Sale album. Oh, Junk by Paul McCartney. There's this album that you could find. It was a bootleg Beatles album on YouTube that you could find. It was called Beatles Black. They had Beatles White album, but they had the Beatles Black album someone made, and it had all of these songs from the different Beatles albums around a certain time period, and it was my favorite album, and I didn't download it, and I have so many other things like downloaded, and I thought, oh my gosh, and it got deleted, and I want to cry thinking about it, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But if you find it someday, just know that you're lucky and download it. Just find out quickly as possible, because it'll be gone for some reason. Let Me Roll It. Paul McCartney and the Wings. Jerry Garcia. I like the Jerry Garcia version a lot. As you see, I hear a lot of versions of songs, and I think, oh, I know where that's from, or I think, oh, I know someone else who did that. So there's a lot of that. Maggie's Farm Jazz Fusion version posted by yours truly. And then Bob Dylan 1978 sessions by yours truly. A lot of good songs in there. And then Berlioz Symphony Fantastique. Oh, so good. You gotta check out that. You gotta check out other composers that are really good too. You gotta check out like Ravel. Like Daphnis and Chloe. And Borleo or Borello, I forget. Crosby, Stills and Nash video with some other kind of like them like as a band talking and arguing. It's funny. Crosby, Stills and Nash Blackbird by me. Posted by me. I always think it's funny that I posted it because I see my name in here. I think it's funny. Wolfgang Rubsum, he does Bach so well. He does kind of more like what he does is he's really actually like a studier of Baroque music. So a lot of people say this and that, but I take him very seriously. I think he knows his stuff very well. He's been studying this stuff a lot. He's been studying Bach, and he plays the stuff amazingly. He has it like memorized for one, but then other than that, he has this approach of playing it to where he says it's cantable. It's basically metrically cantable. And what I mean by that is not only is the music written cantable to where that means singable, to where you're able to take the song and sing it. It's a Italian word. And he does a style of Bach playing that's cantable metrically to where as he's playing it through the meter, it's cantable. He plays it cantably so you could sing it. And it's really interesting, but he says that the whole effect of it is not in each bar alone, but it's as a whole. I agree. If you listen to him playing whatever it is, this one's the Art of Fugue, so good. I think he does I think everything. I've heard like inventions from him. I've heard the Art of Fugue by him, Well-Tempered Clavier, book 1 and 2. I actually posted book 1 on here. It's piano. I posted Wolfgang Rubsum right after to kind of show people that. I think Wolfgang Rubsum's Well-Tempered Clavier's book 1's great, but that's way down on here already, so I couldn't repost it. And then here's the score so you can actually read it. Bo Diddley. Because the Willie and... Oh, that's why. Because I was listening to New Riders of the Purple Sage, and I thought this Willie and the Hand Jive gives me that Bo Diddley vibe. Like Ted Nugent talks about. And other people talk about. A lot of people are influenced by Bo Diddley. And listen to the song Bo Diddley. You see what I mean? It was very old school. One of the first people kind of doing this style of music. And then people started thinking, I like that. And a lot of people have copied it still this day. New New Artist Purple Sage. Check out this album. The Power Slide. Check out that band in general. They did opening for Grateful Dead. Jerry Garcia was one of the co-founders in the beginning of the actual group as a whole. And then it has John Dawson in it too. So I just love his singing and stuff. Crosby, Stills and Nash. This is such a great album. The song Delta. Oh, so good. And all the other ones too. But Delta's so good. I just think about whenever I hear that song, I'm like, this is such like a masterpiece. Their voices harmonize so perfectly. And if you actually, the best thing to do is listen to, I think the Birds harmonize well too. Which actually I do have that. Crosby, Stills and Nash rarities too. If you listen to like more of the studio versions that weren't released of Crosby, Stills and Nash, and also even the Birds, which I think they both did a great harmony with their voices as a group. Band in the kind of that softer range, which I love when bands do that. Moody Blues too. But I'm talking about these guys, and if you listen to them, you'll see that their studio unreleased stuff, you'll see that it's not as amazing as the end result that you see on the album. It's a lot dirtier. It's a lot more just like if I got the microphone, I was you hear just more like a human. It's cleaned up by the end, so it's inspiring actually to hear people who sound more like me and you singing it. The end result's so much better, but they do a lot of stuff in the studio. So, okay, I was making sure if my microphone wasn't on this whole time, that'd suck. Bob Dylan final show at London Palladium 2022. That's so funny. Bob Dylan's still doing music, and I think it's great. So I heard someone say the other day, like, oh, it's so sad he's still doing music. I thought, wait, what? He's like, it's probably what he loves doing. And I love listening to him. He puts a smile on my face. But I would say his voice, as of later, has definitely changed a lot. And I think Bob Dylan is actually I want to do a whole video about this actually. I think he's one of the best folk singers of all time. And I think our generation is like gifted by him as a songwriter, but I think he's an amazing singer, and a lot of people say, oh, his voice, this and that. If you listen to how he sings the songs, for one, he delivers the songs amazingly. All I gotta say. But then if you read the comments of all of his songs, I thought this my whole life, but I talked to so many people who disagreed, I didn't realize that. I read the comments of his videos, I thought, okay, there's fans who say the same thing that I'm thinking, that he just delivers the words so well with so much passion, and you hear what he's saying in emotion and drama. Bob is so good. Oh, Senior, I'll Be Your Baby Tonight and I'm Free. I actually posted that one too. That was from Bob Dylan and Grateful Dead rehearsal sessions. Very nice. Vivaldi Violin Concertos, OP 11 and 12. Vivaldi's great violin music too. Great music in general, but his violin stuff. Here's the actual full version of the Bob Dylan LA Spring session. 3 hours, 20 minutes. Funniest thing is, I've listened to basically everything I've posted on here at least once all the way through. And of course the classical stuff as well. A lot of stuff like there's some stuff that's like 5 hours long, like a Mozart wind concertos or something, and I listened to that twice, one day and then the next day, just like all in once. Listen, I love that personally. Van Morrison's later albums kind of went into some more, I'd say, simpler as a group, maybe a little bit simpler as a group, but I wouldn't go that far to say for all of them, but a lot of them he went a little simpler, and actually I think he would say that too, and kind of kept things a little more simple later on. I kind of like it. There's a jazz album by Van Morrison, Affirmation, Skyboat Song, Broken Record. That one's hilarious. It's a song about a broken record. So at one point he's all broken record, broken record, broken record. And I like the live version too. All Work and No Play, Van Morrison, you know it. Van Morrison's Cypress Avenue from It's Too Late, the film. That whole It's Too Late to Stop Now. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can find the album playlists on YouTube. I'm going through this rather slow, so I'm gonna speed this up. But as you can see, I have a lot of variation. I have some Van Morrison here. I have some, yeah, Slavic Rhapsody, J.S. Bach, Sonata for Violin. Oh, these were great. I actually have these as well as a score that I was reading, and I thought I was studying the third partita by Bach. Actually, on this channel, I also have a Muse score. I rescored it on Muse score, and I have a playback. It sounds pretty good on Muse score, except for the last uh, movement, which sounds horrible on Muse score. Everything else sounds good, but Hilary Hahn makes it sound amazing in every movement, of course. So I really would recommend hers. Oh, the first sonata too is just like profound, and there's a lot of counterpoint in it. And I haven't like studied looking. You can just hear it. And then the Birds, Positively Fourth Street. Bob Dylan, of course. The Birds literally did so many Bob Dylan covers. The Birds, I wouldn't say were a Bob Dylan cover band, but for a degree they were. But they did it so good. They made a lot of people say they made Bob Dylan's songs better. They like made Bob Dylan songs, the instrumental parts, so amazing. I guess they harmonized their voices too. A lot of good stuff with Bob's songs. 8 Miles High. That one's so funny. It's literally them jamming out for like 13 minutes or something. All of a sudden it goes into 8 miles high, and then you touch down. So good. Chestnut Mare. It's all sung about a chestnut mare is like a type of horse, and the song's all about seeing like a horse and saying like I'm gonna make that horse mine, and when I make it mine, I'm gonna give it my brand. And I just think it's a funny song. It's just a yeah. I think stuff back in the day was a lot more respectful in terms of like trying to convey a message that was like if you're attracted to a woman or partner or something and you think you want to write a song about that, people did it a lot of times in a more respectful way compared to today's modern music, which I think we brought this back as the youth and brought back more respectful songs and stuff. It'd be great because everyone can listen to these songs. You can listen to these songs. The kids can listen to these songs. Anyone can. You can turn it up. You can blast it. People are happy. Everyone's happy. We're all happy. Good time. Okay? Willin' by Little Feat. What's his name? Lowell George. He sadly died of a cocaine overdose. Very good songwriter. Very passionate singer of Little Feat. I'll check out Little Feat in the 70s when Lowell George was there. Good stuff. The album Waiting for Columbus is phenomenal. Check it out. Check out these two, the songs All These Things, and check out the regular version, Recommend, and then Just to Season the Birds. Spanish Harlem Incident, my back page is Toto albums. Whoops. Toto albums, here's Totem 4. I'd recommend Toto 1 through, I don't even know. Totem, just all the albums are good, I think. Recommend Toto albums. Check out the Toto albums. Grateful Dead, Terrapin Station, David Bowie. What is that one? I'm trying to think. I forget exactly. Ziggy Stardust and the song Star. I Can Fall Asleep at Night as a rock and roll star. Glass Tiger. They did like a later song 3 years ago. I was like, whoa. The song You're What I Look For. So good. Again, check out Glass Tiger. Grateful Dead. Some stuff posted by me. Some more Glass Tiger stuff. I was thinking Glass Tiger's great. We got some Haydn symphonies. We're going to go down. We're going to scroll down. We have a bunch of Bob Dylan. We even got some Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was taken off the face of YouTube for a while, and all of a sudden he got re-uploaded. So now you can see Jimi Hendrix albums on YouTube again, which for a while you literally couldn't find an actual studio recorded version of a Jimi Hendrix song that would stay around on YouTube. They were all missing. So don't know what was up with that. but glad to see that's on now. The other thing I want to talk about is there was a period of time to where no matter what video you clicked on, if it was by any music artist, the comments were disabled for a period of time. And recently, I think they've started taking it off for most of them. And there's a period of time before this period of time where they didn't do this too. But there's a period of time to where all the comments on all the music artists, which is, I think, a big platform where people talk about their opinions and stuff, just completely removed, still to this day. So I find that really interesting. Van Morrison, Night in San Francisco, All LP. So you get 2.5 hours of Van the Man. Right there, you get another 2 hours of Van the Man. Right here. Oh, this one's so good. We're gonna go through that in a second. I have a whole playlist for Van and the Man. Don't you worry. I know you're worrying, but don't you worry. I got a whole playlist for him. Okay. I also put a bunch of stuff for Van in here, but all the stuff that's in here is, of course, in that playlist. And then look at this. What do we got here? We got Jerry Garcia doing Van Morrison, and it stoned me. What? Yeah. Then we got Positively 4th Street by Jerry Garcia. Jerry Garcia and Marl Saunders. Baby You're a Rich Man, The Beatles. If you haven't seen the Beatles' Yellow Submarine album, or Pink Floyd The Wall movie, or I mean, the Beatles' Yellow Submarine movie, and then Pink Floyd The Wall movie. If you haven't seen those, I don't know. Like, you gotta watch them right now. Oh, Jerry Garcia and Howard Wales and Friends. If you haven't heard the Jerry Garcia and Howard Wales concert, ooh, it's crazy. And then they do some Jerry Garcia and Howard Wales do some music stuff. Some songs. Ned Laggins, Sea Stones, they did Grateful Dead, and they, if you listen to the Dancing in the Streets, the very first song on this concert of Grateful Dead, really good version of Dancing in the Streets, it's actually hilarious. This is a really good album. Winterland, Grateful Dead, really good. Franklin's Tower version. There's another Bob Dylan. We all love our Bobby Dylan. I hope so. It's like, it's almost like slightly religious to listen to Bob Dylan. It's like sacrilegious almost to dislike Bob Dylan or to like say bad things about him in this environment here. Okay? So, Jerry Garcia band. Jerry Garcia does a lot of good stuff. Jerry Garcia, band album. I forgot, yeah, they actually did an album by the Jerry Garcia band, which I thought was his solo album, and then I found out recently that was the band album. Jerry Garcia and Howard Wales, Jerry Garcia and Kreutzmann, with Lesh and Hart too, Mrs. Mickey and the Heartbeats. That's where I was looking for. I didn't see it actually said it. Bluegrass with Jerry Garcia. Jerry Garcia was a banjo player before he even was a guitar player. Well, he was actually a banjo and guitar player, but he was known more. He started more as a banjo player, and he still did that. And he has Old in the Way and Jerry Garcia acoustic band, to where he plays the banjo. So he still does that later too. That's how he kind of started. Legion of Mary, Reconstruction, this is all stuff for Jerry Garcia. And other people did some like jazz fusion stuff. It's awesome. And it's like a lot of it's more improv, so it's really interesting. But a lot of it actually has some, like planned out songwriting, of course, too. But I mean, there's a lot of improv in it that's just like, whoa, it's crazy. Old in the Way, like I was talking about. Rimsky-Korsakov, Ravel, CPE Bach. You know J.S. Bach, but what about... Oh, I can't think of his exact... It's CPE Bach. They even got another Bach, too. They got multiple Bach, actually. Telemann, Haydn, Musa Gorgsky. Don't quote me on that one. Oh, Ysaye. Ysaye's violin sonatas are crazy. I I know Prokofiev. Maybe it's Prokofiev. I don't know who that is. C.P. Bach. Strauss. Strauss is really good. Strauss does like a bunch of waltz. I don't know if that's a waltz. I would assume it to be. Everything Strauss does seems to be a waltz, but it's great. Like the Blue Danube Waltz, for example, if you look that one up. Good stuff. Brahms. We got a lot of stuff. Okay. Is that Rachmaninoff? There's a bunch of things that seem to be misspelled. I'm really confused because this is a very reputable source. And maybe that's how it'd be spelled because they spell symphony like this too. Maybe when you translate it, that's how it was spelled. I don't know. Very confusing. New Riders of the Purple Sage. Dim lights, thick smoke is the only kind of place you'll ever understand. Something like that. I can't explain. Everything's alright. David Bowie. Look at the David Bowie and Stevie Ray Vaughan concert. Very good. It's like a bootleg album. More Van the Man, more writers, some W.F. Bach. There's W.F. Bach. Okay. Of course, J.S. Bach's more Baroque. Okay. The other Bachs were going more into the classical era, so it's different. J.S. Bach is like the beast of all. J.S. Bach's so good. Look at J.S. Bach's chorales. Check them out. Astronomy to Mine by Pink Floyd live. This almost sounded like the album version. It was almost like the same thing, but like slightly different. They did such a good job. It's All Too Much, the Beatles. This is from the Yellow Submarine movie. Such a good movie. It's hilarious. It's literally about like these people, these blue meanies, funny enough, taking away the music. And then the Beatles are like, yo, what are you doing? And they do all this trippy stuff, and they bring the music back. It's amazing. And the music brings the color back and life back to the world. It's an amazing movie. Handel, we got some Handel operas. Brace yourself. You gotta open your mind. If you want to open your mind to some opera music, some really good starters, some kind of monumental pieces would be the Handel's Messiah, and I'd probably start in Haydn's Creation. Yeah. For a first opera, it's a big deal, but it's an easier one to listen to because it's very well written, and the ranges of the singers are in a lot more listenable range compared to a lot of what people think of as opera music. It's an amazing work of art. Haydn the Creation. And then I actually put these in order because if you think about it, well, we have Haydn the Creation, and they go through the different periods, the different days of creation in the work. And then you have Handel's Messiah, which goes over very many periods of the Messiah, Jesus's, I think it would be birth. And you actually have Hallelujah. Everyone knows Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Or even Peter Tosh does the version, King of Kings, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. That comes from this piece. Very old piece. And I think it would be 1600s at some point in the 1600s. And that's where the Hallelujah comes from. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. So, like I said, a monumental piece. I would compare it to something like the Mona Lisa. Like, it's that big of a deal in a work of art, of music, in my eyes, in my opinion. I don't care if anyone quotes me on that one, because that's a huge deal of a piece of music. I even did Handel's Hallelujah right here. And then the Can by, I forget who does that, whatever. Oh, this guy, I don't even want to pronounce his name, but you listen to that, you'll recognize it. Okay? That guy also just composed some good music. Pink Floyd, some older stuff. Obscured by Clouds, really good album. And, of course, Metal, you may know that one, but you may not know. There's Obscured by Clouds. There's metal, and then what's the other kind of far out one? Well, there's Final Cut. Final Cut's really good. That one's very emotional. I would listen to that one with an open mind. Pink Floyd albums in general are amazing, and I'm trying to think of the other one, but for some reason I can't think of it right now. Just look at your old Pink Floyd albums, you'll see. I don't take too much time. Mozart, German dances. Again, I've listened to all this all the way through. It's just being honest, because it looks like I haven't, and I'm just putting out there that basically everything I've posted on here, just FYI, basically everything I've listened to all the way through at least once. Mozart concert arias, it's more like operas. Brace yourself again. Mozart complete piano sonatas, brace yourself to fall asleep. Still really good music. Complete symphonies by Mozart starting when he's very young. Beethoven violin sonatas. This is me going over this playlist like this whole video, so I don't want to get into this too much. Or scroll down a little bit. Oh my gosh. Justin Hayward and John Ledge, Blue Jays. It's like the Lost Moody Blues album or something. Like, is what someone commented. So I got that from them. They said like all these old people were like they didn't even know about this. I of course didn't know about it. I know Moody Blues. It's amazing. Mike Pinder did a solo album too. Didn't realize that. Got some songs from it. Got the album reference. We got Glass Tigers, 3 albums on here within close proximity. We got some Beethoven string trios. That was really good. Watching Worlds Crumble, Glass Tiger, all these songs, Glass Tiger, really good. I have different periods. I'm like not even way far down this at all. So I'll just go way down this right now and see where we end up. We got some Van, Neil, Grateful Dead, David Bowie. I still feel like a lot of stuff's very recent. Oh, here we go. Okay. Jefferson Starship. Gotta check out Jefferson Starship. I'm about to end this because it's actually around the place where I want it to be. That was kind of funny. I have a little place where I did a bunch of 80s music. Because I was like, 80s music's pretty dope. Oh, Steve Winwood. Check it out. Check out Steve Winwood. Check out Steve Winwood's albums and his other stuff, albums, bands he was in. Like Traffic. Robbie Robertson. You'll find the 80s if you look somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to find it somewhere. Levin Helm from the band. Check him out. And then Robbie Robertson from the band. Check him out. Robbie Robertson and Levin Helm had some conflict because Robbie Robertson was like the producer of the band, so he took a lot of the royalties and took a lot of the money that they made, a lot more than the other band members. And the funniest part, well, not funny, but the saddest part was that the lyrics, a lot of their songs came from Levin Helm's hardships. Levin Helm was a farmer, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he was also worked on the cotton fields and stuff, but he worked real hard, and he would write about it, or he would talk about it to Robbie Robertson. Robbie Robertson would then write the songs and make songs about it, and then Levin Helm would sing the songs that Robbie would write. Robbie would also sing the songs too, and they would all play their instruments over it. Levin Helm was the drummer. Robbie Robertson played the guitar, and like I said, was the producer of the band. It's actually, the band was called The Band. So that's what I'm saying. It's literally The Band. And they were great. They also did stuff for Bob Dylan. So they were the band for Bob Dylan, one of his albums. Check that out. But like I was saying, Levin Helm, not very happy with Robbie. Took the darn money. Robbie makes some really interesting music, and I would check that out. Somewhere Down the Crazy River, Showdown at Big Sky, these other ones too. Steve Perry. Oh, everyone knows Journey. Steve Perry's a singer, if you don't know. His live albums are great. Check out Steve Perry's, not live, solo albums. I think he only has 2 regular ones, but someone else also made like a fan-made one. But check out the Steve Perry. I can't even think of the name. I don't see it. It's amazing. Steve Perry Missing You writing session. It's a whole writing session of Steve Perry and a guy playing piano. I don't know who Tim Miner is in the band, but I think he does piano in Steve Perry's band. Not sure. Greg Allman's solo stuff from the Allman Brothers. Greg Allman Brother. Okay, I'm getting tired. We're moving on to music stuff. I have a whole lot of random stuff about music theory and what people call music theory. It's basically just learning music stuff. But it starts off, you go way to the bottom, there's a bunch of stuff that's not as complex. We're getting to some rather more complex stuff now. Van the Man, we have a whole thing about Van Morrison. Like I say, it starts with concerts in chronological order. So let's see. This is, I think, 60s. 60s, I'm pretty sure. 70, 71, 77, 78. Okay? And it's all in the middle. I found out when they're all from. 1982, 1983, 1984. 84. It's 83 through 86. I thought it fits around here. 86. 86, 87. 88, 89, 90. 95, 97. Oh, check out these. Stepping on a Dream. That one live in Montreal, somewhere over the mountain. Midterm Canes. Check those out. Those are like some of the very top, in my opinion. Christmas special. This one's really good too. That's in jazz. Oh, Invocating the Protector of Angels 2004 bootleg. Oh, you gotta check that one out. And then, there's a whole lot of stuff. And then let's go into songs. Wasted Years, Too Long in Exile. But first we have Astral Weeks. I like that one. Very old Van Morrison song. These ones hit home, man. There's some very deep songs. Whatever Happened to PJ Proby. Sometimes We Cry. We have songs. I've listened to every single Van Morrison album at least twice. And he has 83 albums. Or 43. That's 86 albums I've listened to. Well, it's 80. You know what I mean. At least. It's at least twice. I'd say I've listened to most of them a lot more than twice. And I basically have all of his albums memorized. And it's like if I listen to his albums now, it's like the feeling of like, oh, I've listened to this album a million times. But for every single one of his. Because I listen to a lot of music. It's really funny. I think my playlist kind of proves that to an extent. I don't need to prove that. I'm not trying to prove that, but it's a fact. I listen to a whole lot of music. It's insane to actually think about the amount of music I listen to. Okay, so then I'll go into here. We have one from Neil Diamond. We have a whole thing about Neil Diamond. I've listened to all of his albums, of course, too. I picked out my favorite songs from, that's what it is, the favorite songs from each one of the studio albums on here. I think there's actually maybe a few concerts near the bottom, too. And there you go. Neil Diamond playlist. It's all studio recorded versions of the songs. You got 109 videos. Then we got Music Matters. We're going to get into some music teachers. Or actually, this was actually supposed to be a little later. You saw a little too soon. Okay. You didn't see that? Now we have albums. Albums, what? 449 albums. 450 basically albums. Like I was saying, we have all these Bob Dylan, reimagined. The Jerry Garcia albums. We have that album I was talking about. These albums I talked about. We have some Fog Out. We have Neil Young. We have Bite the Bulbs. Interesting. We have Starship, Jefferson Starship, Scorpions, Rainbow, Traffic, Journey, Steve Perry, Them, which was Van Morrison way early. Free, which is with Paul Rogers. Dire Straits, which is with that one guy with the cool voice. Got some more Dire Straits. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Thinking about, it's way too late. Thinking about way too many names right now. And it's all an excuse, but I can't think of his damn name. Then we have Electric Light Orchestra albums. Jethro Tull. We have The Firm. Jeff Beck. Taste, which has Rory Gallagher in it. And that's Taste. Then you have Leonard Skinner box set albums. Blackberry Smoke. Check them out, like a more modern, kind of like comparable to like a, yeah, I guess you could, I wouldn't say they're like the exact genre, but comparable to like a Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers, like a southern rock, Blackberry Smoke, like a modern southern rock band. And they actually do a lot of cool stuff. Like they have a really good rock, really tight rock band, and a good songwriter and guitarist and everything. There's like that Charlie Starr guy. I'm all itchy. Okay. Oh yeah, Beck, Bogart, Apice, Open Vanessa Wright, Blue Oyster Cult album. Yeah, we got more Jeff Beck. We got the Birds. We got whatever that guy's name is. Oh, Danny J. Brown from Molly Hatchet solo album. Check out Molly Hatchet in this album. It's a really good southern rock album, and Molly Hatchet's a really good southern rock band. He's the singer for most of their albums except for one, which I think are all the good ones. Haha. And there's Duke Ellington Orchestra. This, I think, the jazz orchestra is something really interesting. I think jazz used to be a lot different than it is now. In my opinion, I'm just going to let this whole off my opinion. I think the modern day jazz mostly is about creating these extremely outrageous sounds, and it's real showy offy, and I think that is kind of the nature of virtuosity playing and of certain moments of jazz always. But I don't think it's always been the whole nature of the entire song to be as outrageous and as, I would say, dissonant in harmony as a lot of the modern jazz. My whole opinion. But a lot of the other jazz back in the day was so much more like harmonic and just like these resolutions and consonances and stuff within the harmony, and not so much just like clashing and unresolved and flat 13 sharp freaking 7 missing a third with a blah 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 inverted over a C chord. And it's like, I don't, just my opinion, but I like it simple, yo. As you can see with a lot of stuff I listen to. Grateful Dead, the Clementine Jam actually cannot be found from that album, but I think it's a cut from the album. If you look up Clementine Jam, Grateful Dead, that's just like some fire right there, yo. Pink Floyd, The Wall, Doobie Brothers, Allman Brothers, Charlie Parker. We got good stuff here. Chet Baker and Bill Evans, Albert Collins. Oh my god, we got the Boston, we got Robert Cray, we got UFO. Well, there's so much music right here. So much music influence, so much music throughout the years. We got Robert Clark, which is Bob Seger. We got Bob Seger albums. If I have it on my albums and it's just the song, that means that I'm posting the one song from the album, and it's either the song name is the album, or in the rare case that there's not a song on that album that is the song name, which is some cases. I just did one song from the album, okay? So I did basically every single album of all these bands, like UFO. But if you just see a song, that's just the one song from that one album. Okay? So still all the albums, just some of them, the whole album's not posted as one video, basically. So wow, we have a lot of Bob Seger albums. Bob Seger, I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh, the Seger system. And it's in chronological order too. Like I do research and I'm like, when was this posted? Like on Wikipedia, like the actual uh you go on Wikipedia and you look up the discography of any artist. You go UFO discography, Van Morrison discography. It'll show you everything they ever posted. Studio, all listed. Live, all listed. Other stuff, like random releases, singles, all listed in order. So that's how I do this. They're all in order. Okay. Journey. All the Journey albums. You got Frank Marino. Queen Ballads. Frank Marino. Check him out. Mahogany Rush and Frank Marino. Check it out. Steve Lukather from Toto. Solo album. So good. Sid Barrett. Sid Barrett, one of the original founders of Pink Floyd, and a huge influence on the original Pink Floyd band as a whole. As a songwriter and an artist, he really made an impact on the band, and a lot of the original works of the Pink Floyd artists that they've said in their interviews were trying to replicate what Sid Barrett was doing with his music and what he was putting in the band. Then there's Quincy Jones. I'm trying to remember exactly. That just rings a bell. Toto. All the Toto albums. There you go. You're welcome. Robin Trower. Van Morrison. Peter Tosh albums. Bob Marley albums. Wailing Souls. Wailing Souls are not connected to Bob Marley at all, but it's good Jamaican music. Johnny Winter. Then you got Alvin Lee. We're going through some like real old school rockers here, and you're getting a lot of good music history here. Alright, it's like a music history lesson from a 23-year-old. I'm just kidding. But there's so much music history and all this stuff that it really is. If you go through all this stuff, it's like a music history lesson to listen to all this stuff. So I'm kidding when I say a lot of stuff, but there's seriousness to what I'm saying in the joke. So we have some 10 years after Alvin Lee, 10 years after Alvin Lee, David Bowie and Stevie Ray. Check it out, it's right there. Lucky Dube, check it out. He does like a lot of stuff with the flute. He has like his own like flute. Trying to think of what it would be. I haven't listened to it in a while. It's like a flute or something. And it has his own sound. Levin Helm from the band, like I was saying. Crunch, Tipper, and I saw the guy live that he did this with. It's Tipper and some other guy. And I saw the other guy live. He did some crazy set. He did some of the craziest visuals I've ever seen in my entire life. And I didn't have my phone on me. And I was like, still to this day, I'm like, when I think about it, I'm just like, okay, I don't even know what I saw. It was so mind-blowing. I just want to forget about it. Because I didn't record it. And it's kind of sad. But I was like, I love art. So when I was looking at it, I was like, how did he do that? What's going on? It's crazy. Robert Hunter. Who's Robert Hunter? He did a lot of writing for the Grateful Dead. A lot of the members of the Grateful Dead said, I have this song, I want to write it about this, blah, blah, blah. And they'd go to Robert Hunter, and Robert Hunter would write them a poem, song about that idea that they had. Or they'd, with Robert Hunter, write the song with him. You'll see in a lot of Grateful Dead songs, you'll see who wrote it, and you'll see Jerry Garcia, Robert Hunter, or you'll see Bob Weir, Jerry Garcia, Robert Hunter, or just Bob Weir, Robert Hunter, and Phil Lesh, Robert Hunter. Why is this Robert Hunter? So he's like a hidden member of the Grateful Dead, which I've never talked about. It's actually, I should talk about that on like a video, like the hidden member of Grateful Dead is, there's a few, but I'd say would mainly definitely be Robert Hunter. I think. It's not like opinion, I'm trying to be factual, pretty sure. This was interesting. I was like, whoa, I'm not really into weird stuff like that normally, but you try to keep an open mind sometimes. Maybe don't always open your mind to everything, because, you know, you can open your mind to potentially some weird things in life, and that's a tip I have from experience for you. Grieg, Piano Works 2 and 1. Grieg did the Hall of Mountain King. You should check that out. Really good. Corelli, simple. I don't want to say anything. The best of Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky's amazing. I love my Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky and Grieg were the first composers I ever listened to and ever knew of since I was a little kid. The actual knew their names and listened to their music. Other than that, I heard classical and orchestral music and other stuff, mostly within rock bands, and was always blown away and intrigued by it. And now I'm following in the passion of learning about it. So